Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace, love, and salutation to all you Akim out there that's pushing this truth and true sincerity. I believe today is July 18th, 2019, year of Karagma, and you got a lot of stuff that's going on, man. You had the United States retaliate by shooting down an Iranian, I believe it was a drone, all right, today. And now you got NATO exercising war drills in Bulgaria. You know, we're in that time of war right now, you know, for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, it might look like it's summertime and it's time to dip in the pool and, you know, get as many numbers as you can, have as many barbecues as you can. But really, we're in a time of war, okay? And the end of this society, as you know it, is at an end. And there's going to be a new government that's to rule on the earth. And that's the 144,000 under Yahweh Shai's reign in the kingdom of heaven for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. So I'm going to start off in Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season, and to every purpose under the heaven. So, different seasons, man. We're in a season of war right now. A time to be born and a time to die. You see a lot of people being born. The Most High is putting all these spirits back on the earth for judgment. And a time to die. A lot of people going into the spirit world, okay? A time to plant and a time to pluck up, which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. And you so-called Negroes are just laughing, all right, 24/7. You always got a joke. You always want to be the class clown. You always want to joan on somebody. But we're not in that time, man. We're in a time of weeping. We're here in slavery. We got to work these dead-end jobs. We got to pay taxes. We're still under these other 17 nations. We're not in a time of laughing. We're in a time of weeping. A time to mourn and a time to dance. You so-called Negroes and Latinos and Native Americans, especially you so-called Mexicans, man, and you so-called Panamanians, and you so-called Hondurans and El Salvadorians, man. You're in a time of dancing. Your people, which are our people, all right, part of the 12 tribes of Israel, you're in these concentration camps by the border. You haven't. The report is going out that many of you so-called illegal aliens, which are you're really not illegal aliens, but that's what the white man calls you. You're down there in these detention camps. The children are getting molested, all right, and you can't shower, all right. So what is there to dance about here in America? What is there time to laugh about here in America when our people are being afflicted 24/7 and there's no rest here? But the point is, the nations are gearing up for war because the nations gearing up for war is a good thing for us, okay? All these nations coming together and fighting each other is going to be good for us because the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So war is being drawn out, and it's all part of the Lord's program. Matter of fact, before I get that, I want to go to Proverbs. Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whatsoever he will. So this is all a program of the one who you ignorantly call God in Jesus Christ. Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai. All right, their names in the Hebrew, their proper names in the Hebrew. Okay, because there's no God in Jesus Christ. For you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. It says the king's heart is in the hands of the Lord. So the Lord is basically playing chess with these different world leaders right now. Okay? It's not Satan. It's Yahweh. And Yahweh Shai up there in the heavens. Basically, these different world leaders like you got Putin, you got Kim Jong-un, you got your boy Trump, you got the I forgot that guy, the president of France. You got the different NATO nations. You got the European Union. The Lord is basically got these other nations on a chess piece, and he's controlling the narrative, man. All right. So I'm gonna go to I believe that was Isaiah 34. Isaiah 34:1. Come near, you nations, to hear, and hearken, you people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, All right, all the nations. All right, all these heathen nations. Because the nation of Israel, we don't have an army. There's no nation of Negroes. There's no army of Negroes. There's no army of Hispanics. There's no army of Native Americans. All right, and the people of our nation, not we, but the people of our nation join these other nations' wars. They join their other nations' infantry, so to speak. They join these other nations' armies. We don't have tanks and guns. So the Lord has a controversy with these other nations outside the nation of Israel. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He have utterly destroyed them. So it's written that the Lord is going to destroy these armies. That's why you see all these events happening in the world. Okay, like I said today, NATO is exercising drills in Bulgaria right now. Okay, the United States and Iran are on the verge of war. Okay, and you throw Israel into that, that's going to fulfill Jeremiah 49:20, talking about the least of the flock. All right, you see these other countries gearing up for war as well. There's a lot of tensions in the world. There's a lot of protests in the world. There's a protest going on in Puerto Rico, the tribe of Ephraim. There's a lot of tension going on in the world, but our people are not paying attention to what's going on. War is being prepared right now as you're living your little mundane life. Okay, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He have utterly destroyed them. He have delivered them to the slaughter. Verse 3, their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And this is during World War III. All right, the war to end all wars. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be dissolved together as a scroll. You think about a mushroom cloud. That's what's coming towards America. Okay? The so-called white man's heaven is going to be destroyed. Here in America, it's going to be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles. And all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. And that's modern day America, because that's where namely the government structure of Esau is here in America. All right, that's where the world's influence comes from, America. Idumea is modern day America. All right. It says the sword of the Lord is filled with blood, and it is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Basra. That's another code word for America. And a great slaughter in the land of Idumea, America. All right, because this was filled full of America, man. All right. Ezekiel chapter 24, verse 6. It says, wherefore thus saith the Lord power, woe to the bloody city. How was America established? Ask yourself that question. How was America established? All right. You had so-called Native Americans that were drawn into slavery when the so-called white man came over here. They were sent into lands like Asia, namely, Europe, namely places like Spain and Portugal, France, all right, the Netherlands that served slavery. You have a remnant of so-called Native Americans from the tribe of Gad there. All right, then the so-called white man came over here and wiped out the so-called Native Americans to the point where they're on reservations right now drinking themselves to death. Then he brought the so-called Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians over here to serve hardcore slavery. They built the railroad systems. They built the White House. They built America as you see it. All right. And the so-called white man came over to Central and South America and used his influence to conquer these so-called Latino tribes. All right. The so-called Mexican, the so-called Panamanian, the so-called Brazilian. All right, the so-called Uruguayan, the so-called Peruvian. All right, that's how America was established, man, through rape, rob, and murder and bloodshed. All right, even these confusion of faces, these Sicilians, a lot of Sicilians down there in Louisiana were lynched, hung, shot. Okay, so this place has been nothing but oppressing to the Israelites. It says, woe to the bloody city, which means destruction. America is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire. All right. As it mentioned in Isaiah the 34th chapter. To the pot whose scum is therein, and whose scum is not gone out of it, bring it out piece by piece, let no lot fall upon it. Because America is nothing filled with a bunch of scumbags. Okay? The so-called white man, who's the ultimate scumbag, Esau, puts out this legislation where two men can marry each other, two women can marry each other. You can, basically, if you're born a man, you can be a woman. If you're a woman, you could be a man. All right? Pedophilia is about to be legalized. Um, Sex with animals is about to be legalized. Bestiality is about to be legalized. So this place is nothing full of scumbags. The scriptures say the love of many shall wax cold. These people cannot say please and thank you anymore. They're fully untuned to their internet. They have a narcissistic attitude. They think about themselves. So this is the sacrifice that the Lord is preparing, man. The more you people get fattened up with the cares of this life, and the more debauchery that's going on in America, the more you're adding to the sacrifice, man. All right. The more you're setting yourselves up for destruction, because America's going to be destroyed with you people in it. Okay. And when I talk about you people, namely, I'm talking about you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who are in this American lifestyle, drunk off the Babylon juice. All right. Our people, when they get a hold of homosexuality, they're the biggest homosexuals ever. They're the biggest lesbians and dykes ever. They're the most flamboyant ever. All right. Anything that this white man gives you, you take it to the max. So back in Isaiah, all right, chapter 34. Where was I at? Verse 7. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. All right? It is the day of the Lord's vengeance, because the Lord is tired of America, man. He's going to destroy America because he's tired of the wickedness that's going on. All right? So let's go to Joel, the 3rd chapter. Because the Lord is stirring up the spirit of war between these nations, man. Joel 3:1. For behold, in those days and in that time will I bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them. That word plead goes basically into judging. Let's see if we can get that. That word is Shaphat. All right. It goes into the judge, to govern, to vindicate, to punish. So he's going to punish. It basically says, and I will punish them with them for my people. I will, oh man, the Lord is, hey man, the Lord is doing his thing, man. And the Lord will plead with them. He will judge with them for my people. That's possessive, because his people is the Israelites. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and confusion of faces. And for my heritage, Israel. It says my heritage, Israel. Not the Edomites, not the Moabites, not you Ammonites, not you Japhites, not you Hamites. For my heritage, Israel. Now we understand that Israel is scattered across the four corners of the earth. So there's Israelites damn near in every one of these countries, man. Whom they have scattered, see there it go, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Verse 3, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. When did this happen? This happened during the transatlantic slave trade, for you so-called Negroes and you so-called Latinos that's into Islam. That happened during the Arab slave trade, aka the sub-Saharan slave trade. Can't forget about that one. All right. So these nations had a hand in us going down and going into slavery. You can read accounts in Judges where we were slaves under the Moabites. So every single one of these nations had a hand in us going down and going into slavery, man. Okay? Let me get scripture right quick. I believe it's Zephaniah chapter 1. All right. Just give me a sec. I believe it's Zechariah 1. Excuse me. just going to try to bring out a point here. Zechariah 1:15. And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease. You heathens, all right, in these other countries, and namely here in America, you're at ease because you think that you're going to continue to have your foot on the necks of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans here in America, especially Esau, the so-called white man. For I am very, for I was but a little displeased, and they helped for the affliction. We went into slavery because we failed to obey the laws, statutes, commandments of the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. But these other nations for the affliction. Here in America, they hung so-called Negroes, burned them, let them hang on a tree for multiple days and castrated them. Okay, they. I mean, you could just go back into the history books and saw what the so-called white man did to Negroes, so-called Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians. That's just one example. Esau took it too far, and these other nations, like I said, during the Arab slave trade, they took it too far either, because Arabs was castrating young boys back in the day, and they used them as harlots. So the Lord has a controversy with you other nations, all right, for what you did to the children of Israel. The scriptures say that we're the apple of the Lord's eye. So that's another reason why he's bringing you nations together to destroy yourselves so we can come out on top. All right. Now where was I at? I was in Joel chapter 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. The Lord is giving payback to these other nations, man. Because you have taken my gold and silver, the Israelites, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, the Edomites, that you might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither you have sold them, all right, namely here in America and different parts of the world, and I will return your recompense upon your own head. All right, so the Lord is giving payback to these other nations, man. That's why you see war being raised up. That's why you see the spirit of war coming back in this world. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah. So this is payback. The children of Judah, namely the children of Judah, got sold into slavery, along with other tribes. But it's going to be recompense, man. All right, you other nations are going to be sold into slavery, starting with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. And they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord has spoken it. And here's the war part. Now this, the scriptures go back and forth, all right? The Lord is letting you know what's going to happen to you other nations. You're going into slavery. Matter of fact, I'm going to go to Revelation 13. This is for all you nations as well, man. It ain't just for the so-called white man. All right, Revelation 13, 9 and 10. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. All right, like I just mentioned, the so-called Arab, all right, the Ishmaelites had us in slavery during the Arab slave trade. Look that up, man. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So all you nations that had us in captivity, it's your turn to go into slavery after World War III. That's why war is being started up in the world, for you to go into slavery under the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the next New World Order, okay? It's not going to be Russia. It's not going to be China. It's going to be the Israelites under Yahweh Shai, who you earlier called Jesus Christ, King David, the 12 apostles, the 144,000, and the 1/3, okay? So let's go back to Joel. All right, Joel chapter 3, verse 9. Beat your plowshares into swords. When you look at a plowshare, it basically looks like a hammer, but instead of the handle on the hammer, it's got like an axe on both ends. So these are basically like gardening tools, agricultural tools that you use for work, all right, for tilling the land, so to speak. These other, basically what this saying is, it says beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. These countries that weren't even known 10, 20 years ago, they're having nuclear capability, like Pakistan, India, okay, pretty soon it's gonna be the Philippines, man. All right, because you got this guy in the Philippines that's talking big boy smack to the United States and these other nations, man. All these countries are choosing between, are they going to ally with Russia and those powers that be, or the United States? And a lot of these countries are drawing away from the United States due to your boy Donald Trump. So basically, they're taking the money out of agriculture and studying and education and putting it towards war. All the money is going towards war, and you Americans will see it pretty much soon, man. All right, there's a lot of stores in the United States that's being shut down. All right, education, as you know, in the United States is at an all-time low. These people don't know their right from their left, man. All right, so these other nations are using all their money and putting their resources into war. It says, assemble yourselves and come, all you heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened. Let's get that word wakened. All right, let the heathen be wakened. It says to rouse oneself, to awaken, to incite, to be roused. So they're roused up for war through the Spirit of the Lord. The Lord is putting a spirit on these heathens to be aroused for war. All right. I think that word is, if I'm not mistaken, I war. If I'm not mistaken, I war. So it says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge. Let's go that word judge again. All right. Shapat, which means to govern, to judge, to govern, to vindicate, to punish. So he's going to punish these other nations, man. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. All right, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come and get you down, for the press is full, the fast overflow, for the wickedness is great. And this destruction is getting ripe for the time for destruction, man. All right. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. All right. So, that's what time we in, man. All right. Let's go to verse 19. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah. That's another indication, man. Edom is the number one culprit when it comes to the violence against Judah and Israel. Okay? Because they have shed innocent blood in their land. All right, but Judah shall dwell forever in Jerusalem from generation to generation. All right, because we're in the kingdom of heaven and we're going to live there forever and ever. Thus saith the Lord, man. So that's why you see the spirit of war being roused up. All right, it's for what you heathens have done to the children of Israel, man. All right, it's righteous payback with the Lord, man. Matter of fact, I'm going to get that in 2 Thessalonians to close on out. I think it's 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High, who you call God, to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. And that's a righteous thing with the Lord, man. So don't get mad at us for being out on the highways and byways to tell you of your downfall for you other nations. And yes, you 2/3, because you're joined in with these other nations. You don't want to see yourselves ruling over these other nations, beating them upside the head when they get out of order in the kingdom. So you got to die on this side. And when you come back over on the righteous side, you'll be fully implemented with the law, statutes, commandments of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Okay? So with that, I want to say Shalom and a Baba Ball.